Well, good evening, everybody. How you doing? I'm JB, and welcome to the long-awaited return of Disco After Dark, the adult comic book community. You know, I have an intro, and I didn't know if it was appropriate for the show because I've never had I'm not saying a real guest, man. I've never had like a just kind of YouTuber guest, like a real comic book writer before. But there is an intro for the show, and I don't want people to be like, "What's up, JB? There's no intro." So I will throw out that intro. Let's go ahead and play it real quick.
Trying to keep it clean, brother. You never know who could be watching, man. Biggie Shack's coming for you, motherfuckers, dude. And what you gonna do? What you gonna do, man?
That is the intro for the Disco After Dark. I gotta give Biggie Shack his love because much love to Biggie, man. But tonight is a special night because if you didn't notice, first I've been hyping it up all week, right? I'm doing my best to hype this up all week, and I didn't actually have to do it because you are on the whirlwind tour, my friend. Mr. Frank Gogol here from Source Point Press, the writer of these books that you see posted here, is joining me. I'm excited. I needed help. I called in my backup when we talk about indie comics and you're talking about the LA scene down there. You want to get your hands on Kevin from 1-2 Comic Talk. Kevin and Kai have a great channel over here, 1-2 Comic Talk. If you're not watching him, make sure you check him out. There will be links in the description below. I've got all the links for Frank. Frank, thank you for joining me tonight for the triumphant return of Disco After Dark.
Dude, thank you for having me. This is something else. I don't even know what the fuck this is.
Cheers to that. You know what? This is we all have a good time. This is the adult show, so we can say cheers and have a cocktail. By the way, I'm going with Jameson and ginger ale. If there's anybody that's asking, Jameson and ginger ale is what JB is sipping on. Cheers to everybody.
That's a solid choice. I've got something called gummy worms.
Gummy worms.
I just like the can. Can look cool.
Okay.
Very nice. Real quick, we have some people joining us. I had Kenneth Bird really early on. And by the way, everybody that's joining this stream, I'm going to be reviewing this live stream, and every single person that just comments in this live stream will be entered into the prize wheel for Monday morning's fantastic giveaway of this statue that my kids said is freaking them out. Get it out of here. So this statue is getting given away on Monday morning show, and there are two ways to enter. You can have multiple entries. One, comment on this morning's Good Morning Show. Two, share my Instagram post about this particular show, my interview with Frank. That's an extra entry. And three, show up tonight and comment in the live, and you will get a third entry into Monday's prize wheel. Can't wait to give that away. But that's not why we're here tonight. Tonight, we're here to two things. JB's always here for one thing, and it's the chat. We're here for the live peeps. The peeps here are going to hang out with us for the next hour, and I want to shout them out real quick. I want to finish that shout. Chaos in Comics is here, and you know what we say about Chaos in Comics? Chaos reigns in 2020. Yes, it does. Thanks for showing up, my man, Chris Sarda, Chaos in Comics. Rob Boswell, great supporter of the channel. Thanks for hanging out with us. Mr. Rob Wurst, got a great show, every Wednesday night, the Not Near Mint show. You want to check him out. Mike Sanchez, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Stephen Tarr II. And Quick Draw McGraw is here. Craig69 and the master moderator, Z. We need to sit down and talk about those overlays I'm working for you. Captain Comics is here. Steve, man, I like the fact that you guys are making the Whirlwind Tour. I got to get you on my show again. That was good. I was actually reviewing that the other day. That was a good one. Bubba French 20, thanks for stopping by. The channel's newest subscriber is Bubba French 20. I appreciate you. And Magoo Fitzfarter, one of the channel's newest Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for stopping by, Magoo. All right, so let's get to it. What we got here is this. I'll be honest with you, Frank. I had not read your stuff, and I said it in my reply. I was not gonna read your stuff, right? And you sent me digital on these, and I was blown away, man. I I don't know. Okay, I don't want to go. We're not going to talk about no heroin spoilers right now. Can we talk about Dead End Kids first? And anybody that hasn't read Dead End Kids, go pick it up. And I do believe that if we check out once we check out your page on your Instagram, don't you have a link where you can get your hands on a free digital copy of the first issue of Dead End Kids? Is that? I do believe that link was still available. So you can get, it's a teaser. You're going to buy the rest too. And that's the beauty of it. Because the next 2 issues are where they get you. The cliffhangers at the ends of both of these. And man, oh man, I don't want to give it away now, just in case anyone hasn't read it. I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to give it away. But you got to read it because good stuff, Frank. Tell me about this story. Tell me about what inspired it, and tell me about. I know this is a critic. This was nominated for awards. Tell me about it, Frank. Tell me about Dead End Kids first.
So the you guys can hear me all right?
Yeah, I think the chat. How do we sound? Chat. Make sure I want to get the chat. Remember, you got to comment in the live if you're joining us tonight. You know, go ahead and comment. Tell us how we sound tonight. Hey, Rob, thanks for your help on the layout, my friend.
For everyone listening, the trade just came out 2 weeks ago, so you can go get it.
Awesome.
But yeah, so the story is like the pitch is like Stand By Me. It's the Hardy Boys in the 90s. So it's a little bit Stand By Me, a little bit Hardy Boys. It's dark. It's super violent. But it's the story about 3 kids trying to solve their friend's murder. At the sort of core of it, it's about these kids sort of dealing with like childhood trauma and this question of whether the fucked up shit that happens to you when you're like a kid and a teenager like sort of determines who you end up becoming. Like, do you have to grow up being that person?
And each one of them has that unique story of what's going on. I love it.
Yeah, and the book's set in 1999, so it's like around that Y2K era, and there's some fun stuff with that and one of the characters. Yeah, so I mean that's what the book's about. For me, it's it's like I grew up in like a really sort of poor part of New Jersey, and like what a lot of people would call like white trash, and a lot of drugs in the area where I grew up, and a lot of like just poor people, myself among them, and I grew up with 2 parents who were addicts, and like it was a bad upbringing, like as I've gotten older, like especially when I hit my 30s, I started seeing like a lot of my friends who didn't grow up in like rough circumstances sort of romancing their childhoods, just being like, you remember back when and all that bullshit. And I was just like, no, it wasn't really that good.
I don't remember it being all that good. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, we have a sort of tendency to sort of look backwards with rose colored glasses because in a lot of ways it is easier, right? Like when you're a kid, you have fewer problems, but like that doesn't mean you don't have problems and you're not going through shit. Like, kids get abused and people have junky parents like I did, and just all kinds of other stuff. And like these are these things that we kind of like bury deep. And I know from in my life personally, like they've definitely affected me as I've gotten older, and definitely have had a hand in like determining who I ended up becoming, and the people I grew up with too, who ended up in a lot worse position than I did. So I sat down and sort of write this book and explore that question of do these things mess you up so much that you can't like outgrow them, and the book kind of ended up having a different answer to that question than I did. Like it's weird, like I read the book now and I'm like, no, I don't agree with you.
Look at that. Z Collects, the master moderator, dropping the link in the chat. Get your hands on that new trade. You are fantastic, Z. What you're saying holds so true when you look back at these times when you were kids, and there's always those few friends that, and it's not a lot, but there's one or two that you remember that, and there was the saying, and it's what we do.
Yeah,
man, that hung so true as this book, and it hung through it gave me chills as it recurringly came up in the book. By the time I got to the 3rd, when they stopped with drop it's what we do, I'm like, because its meaning gets more and more as the story progresses. I love it. Hey, Splash Page Comics, thanks for hanging out. He's got a quote. What was it? What would happen if things got hit by rain? that Splash is always dropping the great questions. In my normal Disco After Dark is kind of an open. We kind of let the chat decide what's going on with it. Splash, that is a fantastic question. You know what? We're gonna get to some of those after the interview, but right now we're going over Dead End Kids from Frank Gogol, and then we're going to go over to No Heroine, which I broke it down page by page. We're not going to share any of the photos because this is good. You're going to get. When is this officially released, by the way?
June 24th. Yeah, assuming the world doesn't end between now and then. But it's in previews right now, so anyone who's listening who it sounds cool to, they can pre-order it now.
It's fun. It's fun. Let's go ahead and wrap up Dead End Kids. You got some awards or were pitched. Tell me about that.
So last year, the Indie Comics Creator Network something awards. Dead End Kids was named Book of the Year for 2019, and I got named Writer of the Year. Everything's such a blur anymore, but this book in a huge way put me on a lot of people's radars and on some maps and stuff like that. And yeah, it definitely was recognized more so than I thought it should. Honestly, like I like the book a lot, but like people really dig it. And then my other book from before this, Grief, got a Ringo nomination last year, which is sort of like a top 3 industry award.
Wow. Hey, Kevin, I know that you guys are friends. When did you first meet Frank and how far do you guys go back?
Well, actually, and that was one thing I didn't get to show him that I don't presently have. I was chasing him around for a while, and him and Christy Shin were actually doing signing events around. So I got to talk to the owner a couple times of a couple shops that said, he's here. Well, tell him I'll be right there and hold him. So when you're at Heidi Ho Comics, one time he tried to hold you for me, and I couldn't get there. Now, we've met, I think we were at Long Beach Con, right? You at the Long Beach Comic Con?
Yeah.
So we first met there. And then we re-met again at LA, and I was able to get all my stuff there as far as the books that you see behind me and signed. And well, actually, I believe I got my books first, and then I got them signed there. Can't remember how that worked out. Anyway, and yeah, so we met a couple times. And one thing I actually wanted to bring up, Frank, was the fact that you carry this grief through as an underlining story through all of your tales. In the book Grief, which I'm stealing that title from to use the description, in Dead End Kids, and being that I'm not throwing any spoilers out there, it's the same thing that happens in No Heroine. There's this underlining form of grief that you have this diverse way of coming at it as if it's from these different perspectives of different people and different situations. How are you able to do this?
I'm fucked up, man. Like, but really, like, I think like there are like only a handful of things that everybody like universally goes through. Like, we're all born, we all die, and like somewhere in the middle, we all suffer in some way, right? So like, if you think about all the books, like No Heroine and Dead End Kids, like they're about some very specific things, a child being murdered and someone being a recovering addict. But like if you peel it back a little bit, like who hasn't lost a loved one, even if it wasn't like a childhood friend, or who hasn't had somebody in their life who was struggling with something. So like the things that these books deal with are on a broad scale more universal, but they also like actually spend time tackling things that other books don't. Like I read a lot of Marvel. Like I don't know if you guys can see the bookshelves behind me. I read a lot of Marvel, and I love Marvel, and they're sort of known, like compared to DC, for being the publisher that spent time like making their characters like go through like real shit, like Spider-Man. Like the early first 100 issues of Spider-Man is just Stan Lee torturing Peter Parker. But like comics, they kind of lack that. Like, I mean, it's really a lot of punching and capes, and like that's fine. Like it sells, and like I like it. But like I don't think there are a lot of comics that do like on the level that I'm trying to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Where you take it and you have a cadence that keeps the reader going. So it's not that you're always taking them and heading them off a cliff and dumping them off in this misery zone. Is that you're carrying the story and you're always showing these optimisms. You're always carrying the reader of no matter how much despair there's going, there's this feeling of optimism throughout the book. You know what I mean? So that's another reason for me to keep reading, is because it's like, man, it's a good thing if it doesn't keep just wanting for me to just slice my wrist, because there's something more to hear than very optimistic at the back end. Something that leaves me going, okay, I get it. I understand. And I appreciate how you describe things.
The way that you jumped times, I actually wrote it down because it kind of reminded me a little bit of one of my favorite books when I read the entire Watchmen run was when he was literally sitting on Mars and it was jumping those timelines. And this went literally 5 years ago now, 10 years ago now, 14 years ago now, 1 year ago and now, 10 years ago now, 13 years ago. And it was fantastic the way that each nugget of information was just blossoming this story. And you're like, oh, the knife. Oh, and you're just fantastic. Great job, Frank.
Thanks, man.
Great job, man. Anybody that hasn't seen it, please. Z is just killing it as always as the master moderator. I wanted to welcome to the chat Blast It or Stash It reviews. You guys are back. We need to make, by the way, Blast It or Stash It is back. Okay, we need to get it back up to what it used to be. They have a fantastic comic review show. We need to get them going again. Z Collects, the master moderator, right there, dropped it there. There's the knowledge. Get on the mailing list and get yourself a free copy of Dead End Kids #1 at the link in the chat. Great job, Z Collects. Lisa Noble, welcome to the show. I appreciate you taking the time tonight to hang out with us. We're having a couple cocktails. We're talking with Frank Gogol. We're going over Dead End Kids right now before we get over to the new stuff. And we're gonna go take a look at your Twitter and Instagram here in a second and share what you got going on there. But hey, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Kevin, Frank, cheers to everybody in the chat.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah,
nice being here.
Super glad to be here.
Okay, so real quick, I'm going to go ahead and switch this overlay because I'm going to share my screen. Whoa, and I'm going to go over and check out what you got going on your Instagram page. So I know you're an Instagram and Twitter guy, not so much Facebook or YouTube yet, right? No content.
I'm Facebook. I don't use it quite as much for like the comic book side of things, other than like the more professional, like creators and retailers and stuff like that. But I have one.
Okay, which platform do you think you gravitate more?
I think
Twitter.
I like Instagram the most. If I had to pick one, I have a background in graphic design. Like I've done the graphic design for all the books that I've done, not the art, but like the design of the books. So like I think that Instagram is sort of built for stuff like that. And like you can see like I try to keep it clean and not have much trash on there like most people.
Let's take a look at this. So now I see that we are on the Whirlwind Tour to promote, and let's talk about it. We've got pre-orders are now open, and where are pre-orders happening at? Where do we go here? Is there a link to pre-orders of this new book? Because guess what, everybody? I read it. You want it. It's fantastic. It's fun. And I mean, describe it in just a few short words. If you were going to describe this new piece of work here, you got vampires, you've got drugs, you've got a kick-ass what we're calling her Kayla Strong. Kayla is our lead character. Go ahead, let's talk about this for a second, Frank.
So the sort of high level pitch for it is think like Buffy meets Tank Girl. Like it's a young woman who fights monsters and kills shit. But she's also like really punk rock. But sort of again at the core of the book, it's really about a young woman who's sort of struggling with the sort of recovery part of addiction. She's about 90 days clean when the story kicks off, and she's sort of struggling her way through like making amends for all the people she hurt in her life when she was a junkie, and kind of feeling her way through, and honestly in a lot of ways making her situation worse while she tries to make it better. So she's definitely like. She's not a good person either. Like she is selfish and does things for the wrong reasons. And that's like a big part of the journey of the book is her sort of coming to terms with the fact that she's not really cut out to be any kind of hero. Like that's where the title of the book comes from.
Yeah. I'll tell you, this read really well. The twist and turn, the phone booth. Oh my goodness, man, you got me.
I have a question about
this is really good, folks. I can't wait for this to come out and everyone to get their hands on this. The pace is really well done. The way you've told the backstory through these phone calls to mom. Again, I don't want to go spoilers, but this is really good. I can't wait for this to come out. Kevin, were you able to get your hands on the advanced copy and read this?
I was, and one thing that, the community may not know is that Frank is rather meticulous in how he packages his stuff. So in Dead End Kids, you'll see that everything, it has this format, this there's a continuity to everything, and he does it even in the back. So what I'm getting at is when you announced that, because I noticed that you announced that 1 in 5 variant, right?
Is that what this one is? This is gone. It's got to be sold out, right?
This is a retailer incentive.
Wow.
Now, okay. But are you going to be offering that throughout the other issues? I'm a completionist, so I like to. I want all the A's and all the retails, or all the A's.
Let me grab something.
A lot of us are completionists. So this one is sold out.
Yeah. So that is. Let me walk through a couple of these.
And it's there, Steven Spock. Thanks for joining us. All right, what we got here?
So that's this. This was the 1 in 25, or not 1 in 20, but 1 of 25 announcement variant. So like every time I put out a book, I like drop a small run cover to sort of announce it and celebrate it. So that's this one. This dropped a couple days ago, sold out in about 6 minutes. So there,
that is awesome. 6 minutes.
Yeah.
So now, if we're following you on Instagram, we're gonna get these. Was there an announcement of this that we could have jumped on?
No. So people on my newsletter found out about it at 6:30 the morning of, and then everyone else found out on a Facebook live stream, like as it was happening. So another benefit to hopping on my newsletter is that there's exclusives for the newsletter. Like really, I've been talking about No Heroine on there for about a year, and we just announced it publicly the other day.
How long has No Heroine been in your mind?
2 years, I guess. So the timeline's a little weird, actually. So I was gearing up to write Dead End Kids in 2018. I wrote it in May of 2018, and at that same time, I went to a con in Philly and worked, and that's where I hooked up with Chris Med. He's an old buddy of mine from when I lived in New Jersey. Like we had drinks at the show. And he was like, "Hey man, let's do a project. Let's do something. Like you got anything? Like that'd be cool since we're friends." And I didn't have anything, and I was getting ready to write Dead End Kids. But on that Sunday of that show, I got on the plane to come back to San Francisco, and it sort of just like poured out of me on the plane. And by the time I got off in SFO 6 hours later, I had like most of the first issue written.
Nice.
And it was a bunch of things coming together. Like my love of Buffy. Chris's art style lends itself to horror and like action books really well. So like knowing that, the topic of addiction is something that I've wanted to write about for a while. It shows up in Grief. It shows up in Dead End Kids in a small way, and like I really wanted to tackle it head on. And then in Chris's own life, he's struggled with addiction in his past, like many years ago, and he's been clean for a very long time. But like just knowing that about him made me sort of know that he was the right guy to tackle this topic with me. So I actually wrote the first issue of No Heroine before I wrote Dead End Kids, and then I wrote Dead End Kids, and Dead End Kids came out, and then I finished No Heroine after Dead End Kids came out.
So I noticed that we have a Chris, and I'm not familiar. His artwork was fantastic in the interiors, by the way. But he's not the cover artist that we're showing here, right? That's
Ahmed Rafet.
Ahmad Rafet. Okay. And how long have you known these guys? Are these, friends of yours from the way back, or is this a Force Point Press kind of putting collaboration people together, or?
It's a little bit of everything. I build out all my own teams. So Chris actually did the covers for Dead End Kids. And that was his first work with me. But it was after we started No Heroine. So it's kind of, the timeline is really wonky. And but I've just known Chris going back a long time. And then on the interiors of Dead End Kids, we got Nenad Savitikainen, who did about half of Grief with me.
Okay.
And then Ahmed comes into the picture. I first worked with him last year on a set of variant covers for Dead End Kids. He did sort of what we called the noir covers. They were all black and white crime covers that had black and white interiors, and they were all con exclusives for 3 different cons. And I love working with all these guys. So like whenever I work with somebody I love with them, I just try to roll them over into the next project if I can in some kind of way. Because I don't want anyone else to be able to work with them because I want to keep working with them. So like I'll meet this isn't like officially announced, but I've been talking about it for a while. Like Nenad and I are working on Dead End Kids 2 right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We're picking up where The continuation.
I can't say a whole lot about it because I'm still reading it, but essentially we're taking sort of a True Detective kind of approach to it. So it's going to be a different set of kids in a different place in a different time period, but sort of in the same vein though, kids and crime. And I can tell you the sort of high level pitch of it. It's 3 kids in 2008 who are all the children or relatives of people who died because of on 9/11, and they have to do a heist.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, I love that.
Very good. By the way, I want to welcome to the stream. Z Collects is the man. He's going to be going live later. He's been dropping the links in the chat. There's Frank's Instagram. You're just amazing, Z. He's going to be going live later for a stream. I got to make sure I get that set up and go. Let's make sure we all go by and check out Z Collects tonight because he's doing his thing. John's Comics with Kids is taking the time to hang out with us tonight, and I love this name. You know what I'm going to say. We all have comics on the mind. Great job, my friend. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. All right. Hey, Old Wolf is also here. And one more time, Z wants to make sure everybody takes a moment to go ahead. It's just an email and get on that mailing list. Get yourself that free digital download of Dead End Kids, the first issue. You're going to be wanting more. You will. And then you're going to be, getting that information on new releases and all that other good stuff that Frank's going to be dropping for us. Old Wolf, again, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you taking the time. So, Frank, let's go over and check out your. Now that was the Instagram. Now, I'm not going to say I'm not a big fan because that's not the right word. But you're also on Twitter, so tell me about what's going on in the Twitter world and on your page here. This is cool. You're giving the backs, the whole. This looks great, by the way, man.
Yeah.
This is a nice setup.
Click on it, look bigger.
Hold on, let me get the branding off your face. All right. Oh yeah! Wow, this is a very nice, clean setup here.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a neat freak.
So, okay, are you in the Bay Area?
Yeah, I live in San Francisco.
You live in? I was born and raised in San Francisco, my friend.
Yeah, whereabouts?
Yeah, Moscow in Russia in the Excelsior district. I went to the School of the Epiphany.
Okay.
And when it came time to go to high school, I should have went to Balboa, which was the closest public high school, when all my friends were going to Reardon, Sacred Heart, and St. Ignatius. But the old man said, I just cannot afford that tuition anymore, kid. So I ended up going all the way out to Pacifica, and I went to Terra Nova High School.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, you are a Bay Area guy. Very nice. So I'm not familiar with the Twitters. So how long have you been on Twitter, and tell me what you think about it?
I think it says up at the top when I joined.
Oh, okay. Does it?
2009, does it say? Since?
Man, got a ton of followers. Holy moly.
2010.
Joined December 2010. And is there a difference between the what you would post on Twitter as to what you'd post on Instagram?
Yeah, like each social media sort of has like a different use for me. Twitter is sort of where I interact with people. Like a lot of creators are on Twitter, so like we fuck around with one another. Like you'll see Drew Zucker, who drew Kanto last year. He and I have like a fake feud, and you'll see us sort of go at each other once in a while. Raylan Grant, who did Banjax at Action Lab, he and I have a little feud too. It's almost like wrestling in a weird way. Like, you got these like stupid made up feuds. But no, I use it mostly I post a lot of the same stuff across all the social media.
Wow, Kate Titus from Japan is taking the time to come and hang out and get another extra entry on that wheel. By the way, if I have to ship this thing to Japan, what do you think that's going to cost me? Oh my goodness. No, but
my God.
I'm sending him a box. I'm saying, wait a minute. I've got to do it, my friends. You know who's here, and I got to shout him out. My man. And as promised, the Blazer goes on to say thanks, Perry Comics, for swinging by and hanging out with us tonight. I appreciate you taking the time, my friend. So, sorry about that. It's one of the things that we do in this show, man. You never know who could show up, and I'm gonna say welcome with a special bumper.
Listen,
anyway,
this is the least amount of work I've had to do on one of these, so I appreciate that.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Cheers to everybody that's hanging out with us tonight. You know, I know it's an off time for the Disco After Dark, and there's a lot of stuff going on Friday night, but I really do appreciate everyone who is taking the time to hang out with us. You guys will all be entered into the wheel for Monday's giveaway, and I truly appreciate you.
Hey, Frank, actually, I don't even know if I could phrase it as a question, but let's see. Okay. I do know that you had to actually sell off some of your collection to do publish some of your works.
Yeah.
So I know you have to have some desired works to get back to you. So what is the one of the number one works that you want to get back? And to the community that's out there, and you know who you are. This guy is one of the cool guys in the comic community, and you know those out there that can help. Please contact him and or JB or me and to help this guy out, because he had to sell a lot of his works to get us his works to us. So please help him out.
That's man, we should be helping you. You got to tell us what you missed out on. But first, before we get to that, I got to shout somebody else out. One of my original supporters. Matter of fact, my very first supporter of the channel on Patreon, my man. Are you ready? Or you know what I'm going to say? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Ready for the sickness?
I'm ready.
Are you ready for the sickness?
Ready for the sickness?
All right, we're going to get into it. Are you ready?
Ready for the sickness? Let's get into it.
I love playing with that, man. Come on, Billy. Billy, Economics and Comics, thanks for taking the time to hang out with us tonight. I appreciate you. My man, Dollar Bin Fodder. Bro, how you doing, man? Nice to see you tonight. Hey, dude, he's down. You guys are all in the SoCal area, right? I think Dollar Bin's down there, too. Good stuff. Craig69 is hanging out with us tonight. Man, broski, hanging out. I appreciate you. We're talking to Frank Gogol. He is the writer of. Let me go. I'm going to switch back to the other one because I spent a lot of time on that graphic. I want to put it back up.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. I got the spacing just right. He's the writer of both Dead End Kids and the new, and it's going to be a hit, folks. It's going to be a hit. It's a lot of fun. No Heroine. I got a chance to read it. It was a good time. We're talking about it now. I just found out some very interesting information from Kevin, and you gotta know about this community. I'm big. We're all big. I'm big on the AOK, and I need to know if you had to get rid of some books, man. What kind of books did you get rid of, man? I want to hear about this.
The story Kevin's talking about is are you guys all familiar with like how Kevin Smith got his start directing?
No.
With Clerks. So Kevin grew up really close to where I grew up, actually, in Leonardo, New Jersey. It's like half a mile from where I grew up, like same highway and everything. And he wanted to be a director, and he had like a really dope, like great comic collection, like a lot of like Silver Age and Golden Age. But he really wanted to direct, and he had written Clerks. So he sold his comic book collection to pay to make Clerks.
Wow.
And that's a big part of why he ended up opening up Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash and stuff like that. And like that, when I started making comics, like I realized it's fucking expensive. Like it's real expensive. Like we're talking like for every comic you hold in your hand, like minimum $100 per page. Like it's insane. But before I jumped into making comics, like as like a pro or whatever, I had like a really nice hardcover collection, like all the Marvel and DC omnibuses and stuff like that. Like before I had this trade wall, I had like a big wall of omnibuses, and those things are fucking expensive. I mean, we're talking like $150 a pop, and then when they go out of print, like I mean, and I had like a big fucking collection with like a couple hundred books.
Did you sell it to Gentleman Collectibles?
No, I sold them one at a time, like just random sales. But like I made like a boatload of money, and it paid for grief to get made. Wow. So like I did the Kevin Smith. So like I don't have a whole lot of. I have 2 series in hardcover left.
Did you? Okay. What did you? If you could get one back, which is the one that you regret the most?
I don't honestly think I regret any of it. Like it got me like.
No, I know. No, not that. I did not regret those. If it came across you now and the price was right and you said, you know what, I'm going to jump on that, which one would it be?
There isn't one because I kept that one. I kept it.
You kept it
right here.
All right.
Where is it?
Hey, Mike Rogers, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. LBD Prophecy, thanks for taking the time. Dollar Ben again. K Titus from Japan. Yes, hit the like button, everybody. Why not?
This is the one.
Ooh, make 'em big.
Oh,
Marvel Masterworks, Black Panther. This series was.
show me this. Show me this one. You're proud of this one. Holy moly!
Yeah.
Yeah. So the story behind this run on Black Panther, it was who wrote it? Don McGregor wrote it, and he is sort of the guy who invented like arc storytelling in comics. Like before he came along on Black Panther, like everything was like one and done stories. Like
No way, dude!
Yeah.
This is crazy knowledge. Are you shitting me? This is awesome.
And then this run on Jungle Action it didn't introduce Black Panther, but it was like it developed Wakanda and everything. Yeah. And it was the first thing that carried over from story to story, like each it was like 16-page issues or whatever in like Jungle Action. And Don he's a big influence of mine. I got to meet him. This book's way out of print, but I got him to sign it to me and everything. So like this is the one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
That's gorgeous.
So I kept the book that I would want back.
Very cool. Very cool. So now I notice you're going hard on the trades, and are you still a Marvel reader? You mentioned you're a Marvel guy. Are you still a Marvel guy? Or are you more now an indie guy? Are you still following the superheroes? You like the capes? Tell me.
Yeah, no, still definitely. I read pretty much everything Marvel puts out. Like sort of
Whoa.
like. Not everything. Like I mean, like all Fantastic Four, X-Men, Iron Man, the classic characters, and then characters I love like Iron Fist, Hawkeye, Black Panther.
So since you're a Marvel guy, I want to ask your opinion on a couple of books. What do you think of the reboot last year with the House of X, Powers of X? Did it blow your mind or not? I mean, I honestly,
it blew my fucking mind.
It blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, I hate X-Men.
The different timelines of Moira blew me away. I was like, you're a fucking genius, Hickman. Well, you were just able to explain away all kinds of bad. Oh, you don't like that? Yeah, fuck that. That was in her system.
Have you looked at the covers of my books? I'm very clearly a Jonathan Hickman.
He's a Hickman guy. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, he emulates. It's cool work because the simplicity allows you to be that much more complex. They sound contradictory, but they are. You see it in the works, even Dead End Kids. It seems simplistic, but it's so complex. Yeah. The art, you can't just. The art itself is so. It has that palette of almost everything's watercolored. Everything's just splattered with late 80s. You know what I mean, or mid 80s, I should say. It's just I don't know. You can't. And I understand why you want to carry individuals over from that art to your writing because it best emulates how your writing style is, or how should I say, best.
Very nice.
Well, you know what I mean.
We're trying to get you on all kinds of other stuff. As a matter of fact, there was something else I was supposed to pitch too. I want to get you on here. I'm sure they've already reached out to you, but I don't know. I'm Chad from Comic Core is putting together, with Chuckload of Comics and a big group of people, an online comic convention.
Which one? I've been invited to a whole bunch.
I know. Right here, let me get it set up and see if I can make this thing happen because they sent it to me via the Facebooks here and see if it's actually.
Even WonderCon went online. So I think a few things went online.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how these things work out. Like it's people thinking on the fly, so I definitely appreciate that. But I wonder how lucrative and successful it's going to be for the artist because for every one more you add, it's just that many fewer dollars to go around.
Okay, let's see if this works, guys. Okay, give me a second here. I'm going to switch this overlay.
Take two, man.
We're going to take 2 seconds. All right, here we go. We're going to share the screen. This time we're going to share the audio with the Chrome tab with the Facebook Messenger. I hope this works. You guys seeing this?
I got that invite.
Got this one. So
loading.
My buddy Raylan Grant.
Seeing it. No, it's not showing the one I wanted you to see. All right, hold on. That's not the one. Hold on. So it's not showing the share audio Chrome tab. No. see, I wasn't able to share it in that format. It's planned. Mainframe Comic-Con. Mainframe Comic-Con. I don't know if you were interested in.
Raylan Grant from Nanjack invited me over.
That thing was unbelievable. You know, I might as well just at least show the page because I have that saved. Because I done butchered that. Butchered that one, JB. You know, you can't win them all. You can't win them all. So let me go ahead and share the. I'm going to go ahead and share just the other page that they have on that one, which is this one. That one. Ooh, we get feedback there. Okay. So this is the Mainframe Comic-Con, and yeah, we were just talking about this gentleman down here. He's one of the guests. Kevin Smith will be one of the guests there, and Lloyd Kaufman, Greg Clark from the Avengers, Captain Marvel's Shield. Yeah, this guest list is blown up overnight again. This looks like it's going to be a pretty crazy event. And yeah, I do believe they're trying to get you involved in there. So get on that, man. That looks like it's gonna be hot.
I told him
that looks like it's going to be hot, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Comic-Con. You know, I think I'm going to be getting involved in that event in some way. Hopefully, I get to be on one of the panels or interview somebody or get my face on that webpage. That looks damn good to me. Woo! All right, so I'm not sure where I want to go next. Is there anybody in the chat that has a question for Frank? If you do, please go ahead and give me all caps with a question for Frank, and we'll take a couple questions from the chat. Kevin, is there anything else we want to ask our guy here? Frank, is there anything you want to pick right now?
I will answer extremely personal questions.
Ooh,
it's after dark. So let's do it.
After dark. He said after dark, folks. We can go even a couple into the personal stuff. I got a question about
place you've had a opposite.
What was that?
That's pretty bad.
The worst place I had to take a shit?
Opposite.
No, opposite.
Oh,
opposite.
I
don't get zits.
Let's go with Source Point Press. Tell me your relationship with them. How long you've been with them, and what do you think? The future's bright? Tell me about Source Point Press.
I'm going to answer those questions in reverse order. I 1000% believe that the future of SourcePoint Press is bright. I'm involved on a day-to-day basis with like the operations on part of a lot of the stuff they do. And like I know a lot of like the background stuff and like the stuff with like fundraising. They're doing some really crazy shit, and I'm super thrilled to be a part of it. Someone asked me the other day if I would ever publish with another publisher, and I absolutely would not. Like, they are so good to me, and they're doing such big stuff down the line like that. It would be insane not to stick with them. So if you don't know their stuff, definitely check it out. Dead End Kids came out through them. Grief came out through them. Ogre, The Rejected, Nora. I mean, they have so much good stuff. They put out their first movie last year. I mean, like, they're gonna keep building on that, and they have such a rabid indie fan base. Like, we go to cons and people walk up, and I'll see them like every year, and they'll walk up and just be like, give me one of everything that you put out since last time I saw you. I mean, they have like legit super fans because it's that good.
Let's take a look tell me what's going on over here with their website.
Actually, I am glad that you answered that, because that is a question that I want or something to bring up, because the last time I saw you, when we were at LA Comic-Con, that was something that you stressed to me, that how well that SourcePoint has treated you and how well they treat all their artists and creators.
Yeah, no, they treat me
cool.
super well.
Very good, very good. So, SourcePoint Press is actually, I really, when we talk about, the distribution of comics right now, and Diamond not doing its thing, I think these smaller publishers, they could probably ship them to the comic book stores if they really had to. They're shipping to me now. I can go right now and buy this comic. Yeah, we can buy this comic book from SourcePoint Press right now. They're going to ship it to my door. Why can't you ship it to the comic book store?
So actually, we can talk about that a little bit. I haven't actually talked about this at all publicly, but one of the things we're doing right now as a company is we're fundraising money to donate our books. So we figured out sort of like what the bare minimum we could take on books without like incurring a loss, and like what the shipping would be. And we built out bundles, and then we fundraised money privately to donate those books to shops. So that way, the company had a little bit of money coming in so they could stay afloat during this, really fucking terrible time, but also be able to put product on shelves. And like on day one, we raised about $6,000, like just privately from a handful of people. We were able to send out, I think 300 or 400 like care packages to shops, and like it's going to make a big difference. And like that's another thing. That's a big reason like why I want to be part of this company, is because they care about the retail community. Like I don't want to talk shit on any other publisher because I don't know what goes on with them, and all the ones I've ever met have been really good to me. But I know that some retailers say that they wish that publishers took better care of them, and I think SourcePoint Press takes that to heart. And I think Boom is really setting the standard for that these days. And like I think SourcePoint Press is right behind them.
Hey, we have a question from the chat. Craig69 wants to know, Frank, did you like the Black Cape Comics Dead End Kids covers by Esteban Salinas?
Yes, I did. And you can thank me for those because I worked very hard with Esteban on all three of them. Esteban is an extremely talented artist, and he had one idea when we got talking, and I convinced him that we should check out this other style and pursue this other route and go this kind of David Fincher vibe for the covers. And like he fucking killed it. He knocked it out of the park. He and I are actually working right now on a set of 3 connecting covers for Black Cape Comics for No Heroine.
Nice.
Oh, now see, that's what I wanted to hear.
Nice.
We have some cool shit. We're gonna do.
We're on the newsletter. Are we gonna be the first to hear?
That I don't know. I don't get to control Black Cape's sort of media output or anything. But when I know, that's when I'll let those people know. If you're on the newsletter, you'll know before I put that shit on Facebook or whatever.
Very nice.
I'm on it, and I suggest everyone out there get on that newsletter.
And me and Esteban are doing some cool stuff too. Like he's gonna do a live capture of him drawing the cover, and then we're gonna do audio commentary together over it. It's gonna be pretty cool.
That does sound great. So, I was just taking a look at the website here, and are you got any input or feedback? Are you involved in the development of the website over at SourcePoint? So, because I was going to go ahead and share that again and see, because anybody who's watching who is interested in getting your hands on a copy of Dead End Kids, or can they pre-order their No Heroine here on this website?
Yeah, you can definitely. Like SourcePoint Press essentially acts as a mail order comic shop in addition to being like in Diamond Previews. So like you can order SourcePoint Press books through your local comic shop just like you do your Marvel books, or you can order books directly from them. Like whatever works for you, because not everyone has a comic shop, so like if you want to stay up on SourcePoint books, like you have a lot of options to get them, because we weren't always in Diamond. So we built up through doing convention appearances. We do about 70 shows a year when it's not a pandemic. And then after that, it's mail order. If you want No Heroine, you can hop on the site and pre-order it. You'll get it the same week as when it hits shops. Not necessarily the same day, but.
There you go, folks. This is the spot right here, SourcePoint Press. You can go ahead and pick up your advanced copy. I mean, you can pay for it in advance, and they'll ship it to you. Probably get it the same week that the comic shops get it. Available right here. And also over on Frank's Twitter page, which let me go ahead and close out here. He's got links on the Twitter at the top here to that newsletter listing. So this is where you can get your free copy of Dead End Kids #1 digitally, simply by entering your email address and your first name and subscribing to the newsletter. This is great stuff, Frank, man. I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. This has been fantastic. So if the world doesn't come to an end and No Heroine comes out, I project this thing's going to be fire. When's the next one's coming out? I know it's already there. It's already marinated. It's down. Where are we in the next phase of this storyline?
No Heroine?
Yeah, No Heroine.
Second issue comes out in July. It comes out all summer, every month.
All summer, every month. How long is the series going to go for?
It's 3 issues. They're slightly oversized. I like the 3-issue format because I like we live in a world where
3 issues.
Well, that, and we live in a world where people want shit faster, and like making people wait 6 months between issue 1 and issue 6. It kills the momentum on books. It kills sales. I'd rather give you 3 bigger issues and get the story done and move on to the next thing, which is Dead End Kids 2, and that's coming out in the winter. So,
okay, that's going to be good. That I'm looking forward to that too, man. I want to get. So I hope you jump back in time because I want to hear a little bit more about my favorite character, Mr. Tank.
Tank's dead, man.
Stop it! You just gave me the spoiler. No spoilers. We said we were going to spoil. God.
Did I though? Did I?
You said no spoilers. You said no spoilers because that was my good. Got a tear there. Yeah.
After dark. It's after dark, and I've had a gummy worms, man. Like,
there you go. Oh, he's not deliver anything over here. I'll tell you what. I love the Bay Area. Good times out here in California still. I mean, but let's just real quick on the whole, what's going on in the world today. Let's talk about, Frank, what's going on in the world today? How has this really affected what you got going on? And, how is the stay-at-home order affecting, how you write?
Yeah.
Right.
So I live like in the heart of San Francisco. Like I live on like 14th and Dolores. So like just off Market Street, just outside the Castro. And I work downtown. I work on the corner of Folsom and Sansone, somewhere down off Market Street, the other end down by the ferry building. So like, that I walk to work and I work in an office and like, but like working from home isn't that bad. Like I work from home kind of regularly, like, a couple times a month. And like I have a good setup at home. My wife's working from home. She works for Bank of America, sort of at the corporate level. And like, so that's been a little bit of adjustment. Us like sort of being around each other a little more often during the day when we're not used to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, we it's just button heads like on stupid shit. But in general, I mean, like we're comfortable and healthy and like we can't really ask for a whole lot more than that. Like I know there are a lot of people out there who have a lot worse, which is a big part of like why I've been working with SourcePoint to like try and make sure we're giving back to shops and doing stuff to raise money and stuff like that. Like, like especially for retailers, like Dead End Kids came out last year and like it was a wild success, like much bigger than I ever imagined. And that's mostly, if not entirely, because of the retailers. They pre-ordered the book. Like nobody can buy a book that isn't pre-ordered by shops. A handful of people pre-order books on their own. Shops usually take a chance on an indie book and push it. And the book was a big success. And like, I've become friends with retailers and I really owe them big time in a lot of ways. So like, that's my focus these days. Like I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm comfortable. So let me see what I can do to help these people out. Cause like there are great shops out there. I mean, Jen King down at Space Cadets and like the Houston area has been super good to me. Chris Quesos up in Seattle at the Comics Dungeon. I mean, like these shops are the lifeblood of the industry. Like there's no direct market without them. So like we got to take care of them right now. And that's where my head's at.
Where do you shop in the Bay Area in San Francisco for your books?
Mission Comics down here, about 6 blocks south of me.
So I don't know. I don't remember the name of the one that my dad took me to, but we used to hop on the 14 Mission and get off. I want to say down somewhere in like 24th, 25th. We'd get a burrito right on the corner right there. And then we'd walk over and go to the comic book store. And there was like two that were a couple blocks apart from each other. And I don't know if they're still there, but those are some of my childhood memories of taking the 14 Mission down and getting a burrito down on 24th and Mission.
That's a good memory. That's a good one.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a shop down there anymore. I've only lived here for like about 2.5 years. I'm originally from New Jersey. I moved out here for my wife. But my shop's on 18th and Mission. But the shops in the city are pretty classic though. We got Comic Experience over on DeViz. That's been there for 31 years. I mean, like, it's a lot of comics history in this city. There's a lot of creators in the Bay Area too, like more than I realized.
Our con schedule, what did you have planned and what is the new plan? Right.
What was trying to do
for you?
I was trying to do 20 shows this year. Like,
holy moly, you were going hard. 20?
I did 17 last year, and I was like, it's 2020. Let me do 20 shows. So I did Wizard World Portland in January, and then I did. Did I do? I think C2E2 was my second of the year, and then on the docket after that, I had ECC. I was going to be at Dallas Fan Expo, Comic Palooza in Houston. Awesome Con in DC, MegaCon in Orlando. Yeah. I had like 8 or 9 on the schedule already, and like some that I hadn't like bought plane tickets and stuff for. I was supposed to be at Boston, Toronto. I honestly I can't remember them all at this point, but I think I had like 13 like locked in and 9 on the schedule officially. And
so you can do your job remotely, I'm assuming.
No, I've got a pretty flexible job. Like I have like unlimited time off, like within reason. But it's just I work late on like a Thursday or Friday night, take an overnight flight to DC, get off the plane at 7 a.m., go to the con, work all day, sleep, work all day, get on the plane, come back, get home at like 1 o'clock in the morning on Monday.
Are you part of any of the writers groups or anything? Or are you the Hero Initiative or any of that type of stuff?
I have this dream of having one day. Like I really like what the guys over who do the white noise stuff, like Ram V and Ryan O'Sullivan. Like they're putting out some really good stuff, and I like the idea of like sort of a writer's room to like bounce ideas off one another and like sort of like help build careers. I've got sort of like an unofficial one going with like David Pepos, who does Spencer and Locke over at Action Lab, and Phil Seavey, who did Triage at Dark Horse last year. I'm super close with David Boer, who did Canto, and like I send them stuff. So, but like not in any kind of like purposeful group capacity.
Okay. So now that that's
the same group of guys that I talk to all the time too.
Yeah,
you know,
they're all local, so they're all sort of
right. Well, you know.
Okay, you finally read it. So now that that's not happening, do you ever do you like store signings?
I did 17 store signings last year.
17 in addition to the 17 cons?
Yeah. So every weekend that I wasn't at a con, I flew to a different city, like on the West Coast or near the West Coast, and did like 2 signings a day, slept at a hotel, did a signing, then got on a plane, came back. Like I really got my ass out there. Like they did Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, LA, San Diego, Miami, DC, a couple New Jersey places, some places in New York. I mean, like anywhere that would have me.
That's fantastic. You're blowing me away.
It's in my area. You hit around here at least 4 of them are in my area around here that I know of. Between
I did LA twice. I did a whole weekend for Comic Plug, and then I came back and did and Heidi Ho that same weekend. Then I came back and did Golden Apple had me out for LA, and then another shop. It was all a big blur. Like I did not stop moving from like April of last year until November of last year. Like I got married in September of last year, and I wasn't home the 6 weekends before the wedding, and then the 2 weekends after the wedding.
Well, congratulations on getting married. That's fantastic. I want to shout out a couple people who just stopped into the chat. Pope Cerebus the First. He's loving Mission Comics. Thanks for hanging out with us. Rob Worst is back. Craig69 still here. Fish Tropic. Thanks for hanging out with us. Mike W. Rogers dropping that daily content. I'm digging that. Everyone who's hanging out, I appreciate you. Frank, I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. This has been great. Kevin, I know you got a show coming up here. Did you right? Are you still going live? I thought I had you posted for a live show.
I did, and I moved it just right this second. I moved it to like 9:30.
Oh, I
need 10 minutes to make a margarita.
Yeah, because he's going to be going on live here after us.
You're invited, Frank. Hang out, drink.
Margaritas and
talk nothing.
Straight margaritas. It's just margaritas. Margaritas. There you go. We're gonna go hang out with Kevin and Kai over at 1-2 Comic Talk when we wrap this up.
Kai won't be with me drinking margaritas. No.
But we're saying. So anything else we want to shout out, Frank, before we go and wrap up the show? I appreciate you. I can't even thank you enough. This is the first time I actually had a real writer on the show, and it's awesome.
Well, let me just say thanks for saying I'm a real writer. That hits me right here. Like,
there you go.
Because I don't know. Like every creative person has this thing where like they look at their own shit and they're like, nah, this isn't good. But like consistently since I started writing, people have said Grief is good and that Dead and Kids is good, and like I don't know, man. I'm just waiting to hit my foul ball.
No. This one's not a foul ball. It's solid. No Heroine was very fun.
Well, and I was trying to get it out there.
And you did a great job weaving the story in this. So I can't wait for this to come out and everyone to get their hands on it. But everybody, don't miss out on your free digital copy of Dead End Kids simply by, do I still have that up? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and share this one more time as we wrap up. Go ahead and check out. I got to change the branding. God, it's not as easy as it looks, guys. I'll tell you what.
It is.
Go ahead and check out Frank's Twitter. There is a link in the description below, and his Instagram link in the description below. And both of those have a link to this page where you can get your free copy of Dead End Kids #1 digital download. I'm assuming simply by joining the mailing list, and then you won't miss out when things like this drop. Also, head on over to Source Point Press and get yourself a copy of No Heroine #1. You will not be disappointed. So that, and let me go ahead and put that one back to there. That really is the show for tonight, folks. I'm going to spend a little bit of time with the kids, but wait a minute. We got one for tonight. We got one. You ready? Frank hasn't heard it yet. He's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You ready for this one? It's a late night show, and when we get a super chat, we got to go ahead and drop the disco. One more time for my man Rob Boswell. Of course I gave you love. Did I miss you earlier somewhere? Was he up in there earlier? Did he ask a question? What's going on here? Yeah, man, there's a lot of... You juggle all this stuff over here. Rob, I appreciate you, though, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. So, Kevin, you're going live next. Yes. Frank, where are you headed next? What's next on the agenda for you? Where's your next appearance? Because I know you were on the Whirlwind. I had you on my top picks for 3 days with your interview with Jack and Brian at Simpleman's. So I know you're on the Whirlwind tour. What's your next stop?
Oh God, I don't even know. I've got. I wish I could show you my calendar, and I've got like a live interview or podcast pretty much like every day this month. A couple, like I think of 3 tomorrow and 2 on Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah, I just like when I've got a book out, like I want to fucking tell people about it. Like I don't give a shit about money. Like I don't care if I never make money from comics, but I want people to read the books. Like I think that they're worth reading. So like, I do as much as I can to get the word out. And I think that was another thing that made Dead End Kids a big deal. Like I did like 50 podcasts last year, and like that, it couldn't have hurt, So next, I think the next thing that like is really noteworthy is sometime this coming week. I don't have a date yet, but I'm going to go live with Jen King, who I mentioned earlier, who is a retailer at Space Cadets Collection Connection down in Houston. She's one of like the lead retailers in the industry. Like she's very much a leader. And she and I are going to go on and talk about the book and about the state of things and just sort of, shoot the shit. She's amazing. If anyone hasn't seen her live streams on Comic Book Shopping Network, absolutely worth checking out just to see them, even if you don't think you want to buy anything. So I think that's the next thing. When cons resume, I'll go to the next one I have scheduled. Like, hopefully I'll be doing a bunch over the summer.
Cool. Very cool. Kevin, we know you're going live next, and I actually have something scheduled for you for tomorrow morning too, don't you?
Yeah, actually, Charlie Stickney is going to come over. We're going to hang out for a while. And tomorrow's Artist Alley, we're going to talk his book, White Ash. Charlie's a great guy. Frank, you know Charlie, right?
White Ash is super good. Charlie's a great guy. We share retailer lists.
Very nice. Well, you know what? I'm going to have that in the playlist for tomorrow morning. Come back, check out the channel. I take the weekends off from the social media, but I am always updating that live stream playlist. I will be doing that as soon as we sign off here after I check on the kids and give my wife a kiss, because man, it doesn't happen without Ms. Disco, who makes it all happen. I want to thank everybody who joined me tonight. I'm going to have to wrap this one up. Frank, can't thank you enough. Kevin, can't thank you enough. I'm going to go ahead and shoot the outro for just to say thanks to all the Patreon supporters, everybody in the chat. Peace out, everybody. Hang around, guys. I'm going to play the outro. Don't take off, and I will end the broadcast, but don't take off, all right? I don't want to talk to you guys backstage. All right, everybody, peace out. You know how we end the stream over here? Don't forget, we drink a lot of red wine. No, wait a minute. No, don't forget, we had a good time. That's right.
Had a good time.
Peace.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.